Hello and welcome. Fantastic to have you here. Welcome to Nuts and Bolts. Got a great session on for you today. It's all about how you can improve teamwork and the workplace. Okay, so you're a leader, you've got a team of people. How are you going to increase that teamwork? How are you going to get them collaborating together? How are you going to get them to be really constructive and leverage off each other's strengths and all those sorts of things? So I'm going to give you some 7 steps of what you can do, and you can start on that today. So what can you do to try and increase the teamwork in your team and become a high-performing team? So and so this is studies that have been done over many years, over hundreds and hundreds of teams, to what makes a high-performing team. So if we can do some of these, we're certainly on the right track, right? Okay, so let's go through them. So number 1, you've got to determine what the strengths are of your team. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their areas where they really thrive, where they love to be? What are areas that drag them down and deplete their energy? So whatever that is, you need to know what that is. Okay, so if you've got someone with brilliant IT skills, or you've got somebody who is a real doer and just gets stuff done, or if you've got someone who is fantastic at the detail and planning, those need to be highlighted. And not only to that particular individual, but for the whole team. So that whole team should know, oh, Nancy's really great for detail. Oh, John's really great for prudence. So I'm going to put all my really important emails through him because he'll go through them and make sure they're great. Sally is really fantastic at Excel spreadsheets, and Stephen's really fantastic at having verbal communications with people. So you need them to know what each other's strengths are. So as they're working on tasks or projects or whatever, they can leverage off each other's strengths. So that's really important to note. So number 1, making sure that you know what their strengths are. Number 2, if you're asking for a particular quality of work, if you're saying to them, hey, we really want to do a good job here, it can't just end at that. What you need to continue saying, we need to do a good job here, and this is what good looks like. This is what the end result should look like. This is what we're aiming for. And show pictures, posters, videos, KPIs, something that people can see what that good looks like. Okay, because your sense of quality and some of their senses of quality might be totally different. So you all have to be working off the same team when it comes to quality. So get a picture, get a product, get an example, do something that you can show them this is what goods looks like and this is where we're heading. So what is the quality work you're after? Exactly this. Bang. No one can sort of think that that's ambiguous then. Everybody's working off the same page. So that's a good one. Number 3, give them an opportunity to collaborate with each other. So is there certain tasks that they can sort of leverage off each other? And that's really important in the fact that they're going to build further relationships. They're going to, leverage off each other's strengths. Being able to empower them to help others in the team. So this is really important. So it can't be all individual tasks. There must be some that you say, hey Nancy, can you work with John on that one, because you're good at that and he's good at that, and that's going to work out really well for that particular task. Or even say to them when you're handing them the task, if you're a little bit down the track and a little bit more mature with your team, you can say to them, hey, here's some tasks. What I want you to do is work out who's best to work with you on those tasks, knowing what your strengths and areas of opportunity are. Maybe they can work out who they need to collaborate with, but giving them the opportunity to do so is really important. Okay, so that's our 3rd one. 4th one, I just had to check, I had 3 fingers up there, not 4. Okay, number 4, make sure the goals that you're setting, because obviously you're setting goals because you're a great leader, right? So you're setting goals. Make sure they align with what the vision and the purpose and the company and all that sort of stuff wants to head in, okay? So it's no good setting goals that are really fantastic and robust, but the company's heading that way and your department's heading that way, and, it's not going to work out. So make sure whatever goals you're setting, because you're setting great goals, because you're a great leader, whatever you're setting is leveraged from whatever the department or particular company goals are. So they're like a scaled down version of. So number 5, what I want you to do is I want you to consider embracing constructive conflict, right? So you're going to have different personalities in your team. There's some personalities that are reflectors, some are pragmatic, some are more activist, whatever it is. Some people are going to be more spoken, some people are going to sit back and think. So what I want you to try and consider is that if somebody is challenging the status quo, if somebody has got a new way of doing something, if somebody is going, no, I don't think that's going to work, explore it. Constructive conflict actually is one of the great strengths of a high-performing team, because it's done in a shroud of trust, right? So if somebody's coming in and dishing something or saying, no, that's not going to work, or I can't see that happening, it's usually because they have a real concern, and maybe it's something we need to stop and listen to and go, wow, I can see where you're coming from. We are 80% there, but that thing that you're talking about, that's that 20% that we need to tweak. So that's good, okay? So try and embrace if you can, that constructive conflict. And sometimes there needs to be some boundaries around it. You know, there's no yelling, there's no swearing, there's no this, there's no that. Obviously, we need to put some boundaries around it, but certainly don't diminish it. People need to be able to voice their opinion and be heard, okay? Because that's where you're going to innovate and create value. Okay, number 6. In the same way you're going to embrace constructive conflict, you're going to embrace mistakes. Okay, people make mistakes. So I want you in every weekly meeting to say, what mistake did everyone make this week? And I'm going to start. This is my mistake that I made. I ballsed up here because I should have done this, but I did done that. I did that. But I did that. This is the result. So the learning I took from that is this, and this is what I'm going to do next time. So now I want you to tell me what you guys did that was a bit of a mistake, and let's all learn from it. Okay, so it's all about making sure that those lessons learned are shared by all. Okay, really, really important. So, and the last but not least is share best practice. So if you've seen a highly impactful and effective team, if you've seen a team that's working really, really well together, how can you share that best practice with your team? How can you do it? Now, I had a leader that was really good at this, and they actually went to an airline that was that they'd had a lot to do with, and they knew that this particular team were working really well together. They were constructive, they were leveraging off each other's strengths. They were getting, but their performance was through the roof. They were engaged. They had no turnover whatsoever. They were retaining their good people. There was no absenteeism, all this sort of stuff, okay? So they decided to say, hey, we'd love to come and shadow you for a couple of hours and just see how you work and how you work together. So they got to go to a team meeting. They got to listen to how they interact with each other. They got to do all this stuff. And then it was about taking them back to their own workplace and going, so what did we get out of that? What did we think worked really well? What do you think we do currently really well? And what can we leverage of what we've just seen? So it's about showing them best practice and go, this is where we could be. You know, so it's really helpful for those visual and kinesthetic learners who really need to see something or feel it to be able to determine, you know, whether it's for them or not, or what lessons they can take out of it. So really, really important. So I'm going to go through them really, really quickly. 1, make sure your team can leverage off their strengths. So make sure they know what their strengths are. Strengths and areas of opportunity. Number 2, what is the quality of work? So you're not going to just say, hey, do a really good job on this. You're going to say, we're going to do a really good job on this, and this is what it looks like, okay? Number 3, give them the opportunity to collaborate with each other. So what tasks can they share? Number 4, make sure the goals that you are setting align with the bigger company goals. Number 5, we're going to embrace constructive conflict, okay? We're going to allow people to have a voice, and that's going to be really, really important. Number 6, the very same way, we're going to embrace mistakes. We're going to look at things that we could have done and look at how we could do them differently. And you're going to be the example of that. You're going to be the one that stands up first and says, hey, guess what? I made the biggest balls up this week. Let's see what learnings we can get out of it. Okay, so you're setting the tone that it's acceptable. And then number 7, which is last but not least, is go and see what a good team looks like. You know, you might already know one, and if you don't, put your feelers out there. Speak to your boss. Speak to other people's bosses. It doesn't have to be internal. Why don't you take a little couple of hours off and go and see another team that are working really, really well. Maybe they're using lean or whatever it may be that you're heading towards, but show them what good looks like, because that's really, really important. Okay, so I hope that helps. Building your team, making sure that they're working really well together and getting towards that high-performing team that we all dream that we can have. Makes our job a whole lot easier when our team's a high-performing team. All right, so I hope that helped. If you've got any questions, queries, concerns, problems, remember, contact us here at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com. We will try and put together as much as we can for you, stick it on a video just like this one, and we'll get it to you as soon as we can. All right, so until then, have a fantastic rest of the week and a weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now. Cheers.